episode. I am so excited. Thank you all. First of all, I just want to say thank you all for the encouragement, the downloads, the shares, the likes, and even your comments and feedback. I really appreciate everyone for just reaching out and encouraging me and inspiring me to keep going with this. I'm just super excited to get into this next episode. First of all, I titled this episode, you know, what's holding you back. I just wanted to tie into where we left off last time. Like, where are you in your place? Where are you in your journey? And to start the episode today is like, what's holding you back? Again, this is a podcast where everybody can, is open space for everybody to grow, heal, discover, and really be sparked to transform their lives into becoming everything they were destined and designed to be. But it starts with recovery. It starts with overcoming. And that's the first step of becoming is overcoming, right? So I just want to get real with you guys on, this topic today. And I will be looking into my notes here on the side because I don't want to butcher these questions that I have. I'm asking myself, but I'm also asking you to ask yourself these same questions because today is definitely going to be talking about some stuff that we're all wrestling with, whether it's resistance, and not just the kind that, makes you feel like you're procrastinating, but the kind of resistance that paralyzes your purpose. Like, that's what we're really going to dive deep into today. So if you're ready to really figure out what's really holding you back, stay tuned to this episode. And let's get deeper. So the first question, man, resistance comes in all different forms, man. It's sometimes you're not really lazy. You're just resisting, I don't know if you ever feel like you can't get things done, or you were always a person that was very active, very involved, very engaged, and then all of a sudden, out of the blue, you're sleeping in bed longer, or you're watching TV more. You're just not really as active as you used to be. And I'm encouraging you. I don't think you're lazy. I think there's a resistance. I think you're resisting something. That's how it was for me. I wasn't lazy, but there was something holding me back. There was something I was afraid of. There was something that told me I wasn't enough, or it's probably something that's telling you the same thing. Something's telling you you're not enough. Something's telling you you won't ever complete anything, or something's telling you, you're not worth fighting for. I don't know what that is, but we're going to get to the bottom of it today. So don't worry about that. The first question I have to ask myself, and I'll ask you as well, what's the first emotion that comes up when you think about starting something new? Like, what's that emotion that comes up the minute you're like, hey, you know what? I should start this. I should do this. What's the emotion that comes up? Is it fear, anxiety, depression? Is it, trauma? What are you feeling? For myself, the emotion I feel is, I get a little excited, but I also get a little fearful. Like, I'm a little worried, a little like, I don't know. I mean, I know I can, I'll map out a whole thing from A to Z, and see it through and believe in it. But what's holding me back from starting it? What's holding you back from starting it? Maybe you had this whole idea that you've written out, and you're ready to publish it, or you're ready to present it to the team or to somebody, and you just didn't. What's that emotion you're feeling? What's telling you not to do this? Or what's telling you you can't do this? Is it fear? What's that resistance? I don't know. But we're gonna dig deeper. And when you find out what that is, now we're starting to unravel some things. Now we're starting to unfold some things. I know for me, it's definitely fear and a little anxiety. Like, I'm excited, but I'm worried about certain things. Like, I don't. Should I not? So, but I am, and we are, and so will you. The next question I'd like to ask myself in this segment is, what am I actually avoiding and why? So ask yourself, what are you actually avoiding? What are you avoiding and why are you avoiding it? Are you avoiding trauma? Are you avoiding people's reactions? Are you avoiding the fear of rejection? And why? Why do you feel like you can't face that thing? Why can you why why do you feel like you can't go through that? I believe you can. You got to believe you can. I know for me, at times where I would, you know, be in this situation when it comes to this question, I would say I was actually just avoiding the way people would feel. Why? Because I was definitely a huge people pleaser. I mean, hey, I was voted class clown in my high school graduation. So like I'm always trying to make everybody laugh, always trying to make sure everybody's good, hospitality, the Southern hospitality. Um, so I just wanted to make sure everyone was good and I had their approval, to do so. And I'm not really sure where that came from. I don't know where it comes from. Um, but, as I've gotten older, I start to realize, I don't need their approval. I've already been approved. Like, you don't need the approval of others. When God gave you that gift, that idea to do that, that was your approval. So stop trying to receive the approval of others. Stop trying to share your idea with somebody who doesn't really care, or sharing your ideas with people who are not seeing what you see. And then, because what that does, when people don't see what you see, sometimes that creates a resistance that stops you from moving forward, that stops you from believing in yourself, that stops you from believing and having the faith that what you had or what you had in mind to do was meant for you. And what you're doing is you're taking their rejection, you're taking their I don't know if that's going to work, or you're taking their nonchalant excitement about it. You're taking that and you're applying it to you, and you're making it about you now. Now you're saying, oh, well, if they wasn't really into it, then maybe I shouldn't be. Nah, that's not the way to go. God gave you that gift and he gave you that idea for a reason. It was only for you. So I said this one time before, and I'll say it again here. They were not meant to see it with you. They were meant to see it through you. So whatever that is, whatever gift that God has given you, it's okay if everybody can't come alongside with you and cheer you on. Some people just don't have the faith. Some people just don't believe. Some people just aren't visionaries. They just can't see it. But don't let that stop you from doing what you've been called to do. And I know it hurts. I know it hurts because I love bringing people up with me. I love just, having my friends coming up from the ground up with me, and let's just do this thing. Y'all come along with me. Let's get this money. And time after time again, people have failed, walked out, quit, didn't believe, whatever it is, didn't have time. And what that continued to do for me, it continued to create resistance for me even trying anymore, for me even moving forward in the thing I know I felt I was called to do. And I don't know if that's you. You're probably in the same situation. Maybe you're in it right now. Listen, it's okay. They were not made to see it with you. They were made to see it through you. So do what you have been called to do. Stop avoiding it and get going. Okay? All right. Um, and another thing I like to ask myself in this resisting phase is, am I secretly feeling safer, you know, stuck versus moving forward? Like, do I feel safe being still, or do I feel like I should be moving and doing something? You know, do you feel safe stuck more than you feel safe moving forward? Do you feel like you shouldn't do a thing because it's less risky? Like you're safer right here. Oh, I'm just good working at this store when you could be owning the store. Oh, I'm safe over here. This is my safe place. Get out of your safe place and move forward. It's honestly not safe there, because what it's really doing is it's killing you. It's got you out here just existing and not living. You have a purpose. There's a call on your life. You have an idea, and somebody needs to hear it and see it from you. So stop playing it safe and get to moving. All right. I know it's like very difficult and different when you're going through stuff to really get out of that safe place. I too have been stuck in a safe place at one time. And, it just got to that place where I'm just used to doing things one way. I'm just used to going through the routine, and it's just cool. I'm making money. I'm doing well. Everyone is happy, and I'm good right here. But I had to challenge myself. And it took me having mentorship and somebody in my life to really tell me, like, hey, you should be doing more than this. You have more to offer than this. And at first, I didn't really believe that and see that. But it took me really getting to that place of, you know what? I do feel like I'm called for more. I do feel like I need to do something else outside of this. And yeah, that's what I had to do. I had to step out of my safe place and begin to realize that, yes, I am called to do something. I am called for more. I am called to be everything I was destined to be. But I had to go find myself. And you gotta get yourself around the right people, because sometimes that safe place keeps you stuck. That safe place keeps you from dreaming, and that safe place keeps you from seeing you at your best. So stop existing and start living. Get out of the safe place. Um, Fear has many faces. That's one thing I have realized. Fear has many faces. And one of the biggest things about resistance when it comes to fear is you could be having fear of failure. It could be fear of success, fear of judgment, trauma, or even perfectionism. And what's really crazy in life is when you face that fear and you realize, you you can overcome that if you would just confront it and be honest about it. What's crazy is these things, I think I forgot what book I was reading, but there's only like two real fears in life that we naturally have: the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. Like that, those are like the two main fears that everyone has, and it's real. Those are real fears. But everything else is kind of fake. Everything else is not real. Everything else stemmed or came from something else. And it is up to you to confront and confess that fear and what that is, and really like dig deeper into where did it come from? Where did it start? Like, why is this a thing for me? Why is this thing taunting me and just telling me I can't do this or I shouldn't be doing this or whatever it is? So I guess the question you have to ask yourself in this situation or in this segment here about like fear just having many faces is, you know, is it failure I fear, or is it the responsibility of success? Like, do you fear failing, or do you actually fear what comes with succeeding? I gotta be honest. For me, it's a little of both. You know, I don't want to fail. You know, I want to do my best. I want to. Sometimes that's part of the reason why I don't start something, because I feel like I could fail. So I'd rather not start it. But it's crazy how I only feel that with certain things I'm supposed to do. Because you can ask my friends, man. I've had more jobs than a woman has items in a Target receipt. Like, I've worked all over the place and all types of things, and I'd be quick to quit for sure. I'm like, nah, this ain't for me. I'm out. Easy. Like, the shortest the shortest active line of employment that I had, I think, was probably about 2.5 hours. I was employed at a place for 2.5 hours. I'm like, yeah, you know what? This ain't for me. I'm out. Deuces. So, I'm not afraid to say this ain't it. But I will say, when it's time for me to do something, or when it's something I feel like I'm called to do, I am afraid to fail at it. I am afraid to start it and actually fail. I've had that fear. So that's one half of it. And then the fear of like the responsibilities that come with success, like actually winning. You know, I mean, I guess when I sit and think about it, it's like kind of like you're possibly going to be, once you start succeeding, you start finding out that people you don't know are your best friends now, and people you grew up with telling you you change and everything else. And it's just like, the different things that come with success and actually going above and beyond and living in purpose. Um, you have to be ready for that change. It's a huge responsibility, especially when you have family, especially when you realize your purpose, because now you're responsible for living it out. I don't remember where I heard this from, but it's like, who's more in trouble? A person who don't know what they're supposed to do and did something wrong, or a person who does know what they're supposed to do and didn't do anything at all? I feel like it goes towards the person who knew what they were supposed to do but didn't do anything at all. So it is your responsibility. Once you identify your purpose, once you identify what you're called to do and what you're supposed to do, and you do nothing at all, nah, that's not good a look. That's not a good look at all. So it's your responsibility to live that out. It's your responsibility to do what you've been called to do. And I can also think about a question for myself, that I had to ask in this segment about fear in the faces of like just failure, success, and judgment, and all these things, is like, are you confusing preparation with perfectionism? Like, I know for a long time, everything had to be perfect. Everything had to look right. I had to have the right camera, the right light, the right setup. Everything had to be right before I got started. And that didn't really start till about maybe 6 years ago. And I don't know where that came from. I really don't. But this is why I'm doing this now, so that I can learn to overcome that and step outside of that, whatever that is. Because back in the day, I used to do all kinds of videos all the time, on the like iPhone 6, shooting videos every day, doing all kinds of stuff. I was Vine and TikTok. I was doing that stuff before all that even came out. And out of nowhere, life happened. Life was life, and that desire, that fire, that drive to create, that drive to be who I felt I was and called to be, it just kind of died down. And you got to get to the bottom of what that is and what happened. Now, of course, in my life, I've been divorced. I've been through things. I've suffered loss. I've suffered different things in my lifetime that could affect that drive and that that call to action. But it's also a little bit deeper than those things. It's deeper than that. So what about you? Are you confusing preparation with perfection? Because you have to prepare. You have to realize that yes, some things do take time. Some things do take making sure things are right and in order. But I guess you got to ask yourself, am I doing this because everything has to be perfect? Or am I doing this because I know it's right to do? So that would be something I would definitely tap into when it comes to just trying to figure out what's going on and what you're going through, whether it's perfectionism or preparation. Just think about that. Ask yourself that. Um, I know for me, yeah, it definitely was perfectionism, and I definitely struggled hard with this. If it wasn't right, I wasn't gonna do it at all. And you really got to work on like your spiritual discernment and praying and making sure like your heart and mind is in the right place, because that's where things really start to shift in your life. That's where you start to get a true understanding of what's right, how to prepare for things, how to be ready, how to submit and answer the call in your life. Um, I also like to say this too, like what's the voice in your head that's telling you like, hey, you don't mess this up? And like, does that voice belong to you, or where did it come from? Like, what's telling you, hey, you know what, I can't start that because I'm not ready, I'm not supposed to do that? Like, what is that voice? Where is that coming from? Is it your voice, or is it the voice of your fifth grade teacher who told you you would never be anything? Is it the voice of your PE coach who said you're not feeling the right shoes? What is that? What's causing you to think that you're not ready, or you're not enough? And sometimes we think that it's us telling ourselves that, but I'm challenging you to think deeper than that. Where did you originally hear? Where did it originate from? Where did it come from? Where did it start? Where did, hey, I'm not enough start? Was it because of a first heartbreak, first broken up relationship? Was it, you know, parents? What was that? When I think about it, for me, I would say it was just certain rejections in life, like certain things that happen. Like, I'll share a story real quick. There was a time where, you know, I was supposed to be spending the weekend with my dad. It's dad's weekend. For some of y'all who are in two-parent households, you know, one parent's got you every other weekend kind of thing. If they in good terms, you know, good speaking terms. And yeah, I was supposed to be staying the weekend with my dad, and he was supposed to come pick me up. And so I'm just being a happy-go-lucky kid. I'm sitting outside on the porch, and I'm ready, excited, waiting for him to come pick me up, man. And it's my mom and my brother. They left and went to the store, you know, but they were gone for quite some time, and I'm just still sitting there twiddling my thumbs, listening to music. I think I had like a CD player or something, a little Walkman. Some of y'all don't know what that is, but anyway, uh, I'm just chilling, man, having a good time. And then out of nowhere, I see my mom and my brother pull back up. Now they have been gone for a minute. My brother swears up and down it was like an hour, but I don't know. I was just, you know, bumping the music. So, but no, I remember my brother walking in the house, and he walked back outside, and he just grabbed me and tapped me on the shoulder. He's like, "Yeah, he's not coming." And I can, even now, I can think about that time that, oh wait, does he not want me? Because as a kid, I'm excited. I'm ready to be with him. I'm ready to hang out with my dad. It's dad's weekend. But he didn't show up. And was I not good enough for him to hang out with? Now I'll say this. Me and my dad, I mean, this was years ago. We have had a very stable, neutral, healthy relationship since then. So like that's yeah, we like 15 years strong on a healthy relationship. So my dad is a great guy. But in that time, at that moment, it made me feel like I wasn't enough. And I know deep down that it was not his intentions. You know, it wasn't until I became a father and I became the every other weekend dad to where I realized there are certain things, even behind the scenes, that go on that sometimes, you know, you just can't make it. Now, do you owe your child or some, you know, everybody some updated communication? Absolutely. Absolutely. But at that time, that's just where we were. But that's as far back as I can go and as far back as I can remember. As far as possibly where it started. So I don't know what that's like for you, but definitely think about that and definitely break that down and figure out the root cause of what's the voice in your head that's telling you, you know, don't mess this up. You're not enough. You can't do it, or no one cares. What is that voice from you, or is it from someone else? And once you're able to identify that, like write it down and look at that thing. Let's face that. Let's face it, right? Because you gotta understand, like, it's okay to call it out. That's honestly the best way you can heal and grow is when you are able to say, this has no control over my life anymore. Being rejected, being left on the porch, expecting someone to come pick me up has no control over me feeling accepted or feeling like I'm unwanted. I'm not good enough. Having that person leave me, having that person cheat on me has no more control over my life. Whatever that is for you, whatever it is, call it out. It has no control over you. Oh, this is something special too. This is this is kind of this is deep to me because the way I think about this next section here is I think we've really got to take the time to really confess this one, you know. Um, but we also got to take the time to set ourselves free, and you know, because this is about when your past holds your present hostage. So when the things of your past is keeping you hostage. It's keeping you from moving forward. It's keeping you from doing what you're supposed to do. It's just because that's all you're looking at. That's all you feel that you are is your past. And it's just holding you and keeping you down. And we gotta set yourself free. Trauma and past experiences often create emotional blocks that we carry unknowingly. And if we are not identifying those things in our lives, then we will forever be held hostage off that past, off that experience. So you got to be able to ask yourself that, what are those moments and memories that are telling you, you know, you can't do this, you're not enough. And I shared my story earlier, like that was that moment for me. What is that moment for you? That's that you always go back to that says, yeah, nope, see, just like in high school, you same thing. You were always picked on. Same thing. You can't succeed. You can't do this. What is that voice? What is that thing? That moment in your life that's telling you, yep, this is who you are. You can't go no further than this in life. What is that? What's keeping you hostage? What's keeping you at this level? Identify that moment, call it out, write it down, and confess that, like, hey, this has no control over me anymore. And when did you start believing that you had to earn love and approval of others to take the next step? Like, when was that for you? When did you feel like, okay, I need everyone's love and approval in order for me to pursue that career, in order for me to start school, in order for me to start that business, or in order for me to, apply for that job in that position? When did that start? Because you don't need people's love and approval to take the next step. Just get to moving. Just you've been approved. Like I said earlier, God giving you that gift, giving you that vision, giving you that dream is the approval. That's all the approval you need. So whether people would agree when you share with your friends or your family members, whether they agree with you or whether they support you or whether they disagree with you, is not their approval and their love that needs to get you going, because God has already approved you. That's enough. That's all you need. And it's okay to name that thing that's been holding you back and holding you down. It is not a weakness. It's wisdom. It's wise to know what's going on inside. It's wise to identify the things that have been holding you down, because now you know what areas you need to work on, what healing that you need to do, what when things reveal, that's when you can heal. Yeah. And you can start before you're ready. You really can. You don't need to have everything fully set and ready to go. You don't need to be fully healed and everything's just perfect before you can take the next step. You can take the step right now. You just need to have will. And I don't know, man. I guess the question would be like, what would it look like to take a small, brave step while you're scared? Like, what does that look like for you? In the midst of your hurting, in the midst of your becoming and overcoming, I guess, what's a small step look like for you? I forgot who said this, but he was saying, the small step for him was when it came to like going to the gym and working out, his small step was just sitting in the gym parking lot, just being there, just being in the parking lot. Even though he didn't step into the gym, just showing up, just pulling up to the spot. And he did that for a little bit until he finally started going in and then walking for 10 minutes. And then it got to the place where he got to the point where he was doing full workouts. And that's all he does now. Gym head, gym rat. But that was his small step. Just driving there. You know, I don't know what that small step is for you, but it can be just as little as just showing up. It can be that small. Just show up. Just show up. Just show up. Just open the book. Just read. Just write. Just say hello. Just give yourself a couple of affirmations in the morning, whatever it is, just one step. What does that look like for you? Ask yourself that. And then also think about this too. Like, what story about yourself are you still rehearsing that no longer fits your becoming? Are you still thinking about the good old days when y'all was out drinking and partying, hanging out and doing what you ain't got no business doing? Is those the things you're still rehearsing in your life that has nothing to do with where you're going? But it could also have you feeling stuck because you may be thinking, oh, I can just go back to that. You know, that was fun. Those were good times. Yeah, I can do that and this. I don't know what that is for you. Is it, yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough question. But for me, I would say the thing I rehearse is, one story for sure is just like kind of quitting the basketball team in high school. Just right before it started, senior year. And we actually did good that year. But I kind of rehearsed that in my mind all the time. What if? What if? What if I would have stayed? You know, I've actually seen a couple of people back home. I mean, not necessarily from my school, but well, a couple. But one for sure was in the NBA. And actually is an NBA champion. Now, he didn't go to my school, but he was in school nearby. And I played against him in the summer leagues. But yeah, it was crazy because it's like, dang, what if I would have taken it more serious? What if I would have done things to make things right and taken things a little bit more serious? You know, it has rehearsed a few times, especially after he won the NBA championship. I was just like, okay, let's just bring this back. But no, man, it's just one of the things where you have to ask yourself, what is constantly repeating itself in you, in your mind, that doesn't even fit where you're going? You know, what is that? Identify that. And then where have you made waiting on perfect look like, you know, it's responsible? Like where did perfection become a responsibility? When did you make, okay, everything needs to be in order or else I won't do anything at all? Like, when did you start that? I shared with y'all earlier, mine started about, I'd say about 6 years ago, man. It got to that place where everything had to be right, or else I wasn't doing it at all. So, and I kept bouncing back and forth between it needs to be right and then No, it just needs to be done. You know, um, and I just feel like that's where God is calling you and myself to right now. He didn't ask for perfection. He asked for your participation. Like he's not asking you to be perfect. He's asking you to just participate. Just do it. So I just love, digging deep, and I hope you love digging deep in this because, you really have to name it. Whatever you're dealing with, you got to name it, and you got to face it, and you got to move anyway. You got to name what that thing is, and you got to face it and move anyway. Whatever this here does not have control over me. This here that used to be something that I was resisting and running from and in fear of does not control me anymore. I am going to move. I will not let my past paralyze my present. I am moving. So tell yourself that. You are moving. Your past will not paralyze your present. Get to moving. All right. These are some things you can think about too for yourself too. Like, um, your breakthrough starts when you're willing to name the resistance and move through it imperfectly. That's when you begin to break through, is when you're able to say, you know what? Yeah, that got me. Yeah, this had me down, but it's not going to have me down now. And I'm going to move, and I'm going to move through this even when I'm not perfect. I just need to move. I just need to keep going. I just need to get started. I just need to take that next step forward and get through this thing. I remember when I was teaching youth group, kids used to ask me all the time, like, God, I just pray God to just take me out this storm. God, just take me out this storm. And I was like, you know what? Stop praying for him to take you out of the storm. Ask him to pray you through the storm. Because what do storms do? They in rotation. So what's happening is that storm is going to come right back around in your life at some point, and you're going to face it again. And now you're going to keep asking God, just take me out of the storm. Take me. Okay, he can take you out, but it's still coming back. So learn to get through it. That way, when you get through it, because when you get through the storm, when it comes back around a year, 2 years, 10 years later, you'll know how to get through it again. And you won't be praying for God to get you out. You'll be thanking God that you know how to get through. And you'll get through it. Yeah, for sure. So these are some of my final questions of the day. And thank y'all for tuning in. We're going to wrap this thing up real quick. But I want you to ask yourself, what can I do today that's messy, but it's honest? Like, what can you do imperfect, but it's the right thing for you? Think about that. The other thing you can ask yourself right now is, what resistance do I need to name out loud so that it stops owning me? What is that? Write that down. What resistance do I need to name out loud so that it stops owning me? You got to name that thing and call it out. And the last question you have to, ask yourself is, how would I show up if I believed ready doesn't mean perfect? It just means willing. How would you show up? How would you show up? If you believe ready doesn't mean perfect, it just means you're willing. What does that look like? Hmm. Well, y'all, I really appreciate y'all time for listening in. And, if something spoke to you today, uh, don't keep this to yourself. Share it with somebody who needs this. Share it with somebody who needs this word because, we're all trying to overcome things and become who we were destined and called to be. We all got something going on in our life that we can identify where it starts because, you know, it's time. It's time to identify the things that's been holding us back so that we can move forward. It's time to, you know, get rid of the fear of resistance and identify those things and call them out. Again, I appreciate y'all for sharing, downloading, and commenting and feedback. This has been a blessing to me, just episode 2, but we're going to keep this thing going. I'll close it out, but remember, progression over perfection every time. I'll see y'all in the next one.